So the story with my truck, after I did the TBI rebuild or tune-up, whatever you want to call it, got it going, and now this was actually happening before the TBI, but so a little background to it. There was a little shudder, engine wasn't really running the best at idle, and it just seemed to have gotten worse slowly over time. And the background behind this is, for the last year, pretty much straight, and except for winter where I let it sit in the garage because I'm in Wisconsin and winters are pretty cold here and snowy and a lot of chemicals that'll ruin your vehicle as far as rust goes. So I just let it sit in the garage the whole time. Didn't take it out when it was snowing at all. And but before that, in the fall, I was kind of rushing to fix a whole bunch of stuff. I had a little bit of issues where I had a no start problem, so I'm trying to crank it. I'm testing all this stuff, testing for fire, checking spark plugs. I replaced the spark plugs. I smelled gas in the oil, so I replaced the oil. And then I did more testing, still couldn't get it to start, and finally I had a code that would pop up that I was able to check, where you take I just took paperclip and you put it in the reader. I'll show you that another time, and you can flash, the check engine light flashes, and you can look it up in the book and you got your code. Well, it ended up being the coolant temperature sensor, which is down here. So I replaced that, and ta-da, just fired right up. But I still had a little gas in the oil from, I think, flooding it, or at least what I thought. So I also had, I think, a couple backfire issues. I had flames come out of there at one time, and this was all when I was trying to get it started and turn it over, where I would floor it completely to start it, and then it would start, but it was all because of that bugger over there. And so finally I got all that going, and I got the new plugs and wires and all that stuff, the new distributor cap and rotor, and then I changed the oil once more after that. And I did not change the plugs again though, but I changed the oil after that. And then a little bit of vibrating, little issues, and it wasn't horrible. I let it sit over the winter. Pretty much it got really cold. I didn't want to work on it. I wanted to do other stuff. And that's when I did the valve seals. I think maybe it was at the beginning of the winter before it got too cold. And then it sat, and then I did the throttle body tune-up at some point. Anyway, after the tune-up, I checked all the injectors. Injectors are spraying fine. I'll put that on when I start the engine. And this is, I put a new diaphragm in here and checked everything out here. This is the fuel pressure regulator, and it doesn't seem to be leaking or anything. This is real clean. There's it does seem like some spray gets back there, so that looks a little bit gas fouled, a little bit. So I think it's possible a little bit gets back there, but I don't know. And I guess I've heard that people say that these map sensors tend to go, and that'll cause some shudder and some just causing the injectors to put more fuel in and flooding it and running it rich, I guess I should say. So, because that's almost what I think is happening. So right now I'm still getting a little gas in the oil. It smells gassy, and I don't know, like I said, I changed it twice essentially after that instance. Maybe I just need to change it again. Maybe it's not really getting in there, it just still smells because there was still that residue of gas still in everything, and it didn't come out all the way. That could be it. So I should just change it probably one more time. Unfortunately, go through wasting a lot of oil. But maybe that'll do it one more time. And then also, but it does seem like it smells a little bit gassy. I'm thinking that there is possibly still some gas getting in. So in one of the cylinders. See, I did a compression test several months ago before I did the valve seal replacement, and they came out, all of the cylinders came out about 125 each. The lowest was 115, but it was in between there. I can't remember exact numbers. So I can't imagine that's changed much, and I guess that was good. I guess those are good results. It depends, I suppose, how you take the results. Some people will say, oh, that's too low, but I think it depends on what exactly, how you're testing. As long as they're all similar, they're close. If one is really far off, or two together really far off, stuff like that, that's when you'd have probably the blown head gasket. But that doesn't mean some of the rings are getting worn. And like I said, so anyway, so the latest thing I'm doing here, checking this out, is pulling all of the spark plugs again. And after probably only driving it like, I don't know, 100 miles with these newer spark plugs in. And yeah, I just had on the number 2 cylinder there in the front. That spark plug was a little dark, and I can even show it to you here. It wasn't horrible. I don't know if that'll show, but come on. And it just looks a little burnt. So I replaced it just because the other ones looked dry and like normal, like almost brand new, which they kind of are. So it's possible I have one cylinder that's misfiring as well, and that's what's causing the vibration. But so right now my main concern is the vibration at the low RPMs and the poor idle, the gas possibly getting into the oil. So let me start it up. Quit talking here. I'm making this video longer than it should be, but I wanted to give a full background since I haven't had videos in a while. Okay, you can hear the pump going and it just shut off. And I've checked, it doesn't seem like the injectors are leaking when I do that, so. On the video, but there's definitely vibration at the low RPMs. If I go in the cab and do that, I think it'll show even more. It's a little hard to tell where the engine is in here. Check the fan and the belts and everything. But it is almost like, and there's a slight chirping sound coming from somewhere around the belt. It's a newer belt. It's a tight belt. It appears to be good visually. But it's possible one of these pulleys, the fan or something, has a little squeak in it. I'm not sure if that's a problem. The vibrating, who knows. Well, let me get in here and I'll kind of see if you can tell. Well, I can definitely feel it right now. The low RPMs. Right here it's still vibrating. And now it's done. And it kind of almost wants to die. But yeah. And probably revving it up a lot while it's idling could also be causing too much fuel to be going into the cylinders, pumping it in. Maybe that's a problem that I'm having myself and I shouldn't be doing, because I don't know if that's an issue, but I thought that was, you know, how you test vehicles. Maybe that's a problem, maybe it's not, but because I've been doing that a lot. But anyway, this video is getting way too long, but I just wanted to explain everything that I've been doing and all of my symptoms. And like I said, it's really hard to tell this way. Little airy noise when you shut it off. But yeah, it's just not running the best, you know, at the low RPMs. Once I get it higher, especially down the road, once I get it, it's almost like once it gets into second gear, it's good. But it's not, it can't be, I doubt it's the transmission, because like I said, it's happening now, obviously. Motor mounts, check those seem to be in good condition. I've heard that the transmission mount could be causing this, which might make sense partially because I feel it more when I'm sitting in the cab and revving it up. But I crawled underneath there and it seems to be pretty steady. It seems to be like just rock hard, solid motor mount. But I've heard that you can replace them with a C15 around the same year for this type of vehicle, two-wheel drive, and it's supposed to stop problems with shuddering at low RPMs, which to me, that would be more of a transmission thing, where I'm kind of noticing this more in the engine. So once again, I don't think that'll fix my problem, but it could. And if somebody has any ideas on what that would be, I'm trying to think of other stuff that I checked out. I checked under the distribution cap. It's all clean under there. Like I said, that's fairly new. The distributor, I don't know if that would cause anything like that. Map sensor, I have to test that. I actually unplugged it, and I got immediately the check engine light went on. It idled slightly different, but it sounded like it didn't really want to. It was a little different. I gave it a little gas. It sounded a little differently. There was still slight vibration, but it was a little different. So maybe it's the map sensor. I'm going to plug it back in. It's exactly the way I've been describing it. I'm not losing any coolant. And like I said, I don't drive this that often. It's more I've been doing so much on it, as you know from my videos if you've been watching them. So that's what's hard, you know, to tell. And because it sat kind of all winter too, it's like I checked the things that could corrode or go and made sure the battery was fully charged, and the newer alternator I got there. Doesn't mean just because it's newer stuff, even this coolant temperature sensor, I would think I'd be getting another code if that was causing another problem, because I had a code last time. But that's all stuff that I've checked. You know, took out the battery, reset everything. So yeah, let me know what you think. If it's something deeper, somebody at one point said torque converter could be causing that vibration, but that's definitely something I wouldn't know unless there'd be a lot, you know, I'd have to go into to find that out, and a rebuild and everything. But I guess my next thing would be do another compression test on this, just to make sure it's not a dead cylinder. But yeah, let me know. And or the piston rings, you know, that I could just have bad piston rings on even one of the cylinders, causing it to not fire properly. That's why that one plug was bad. That would also explain some fuel getting into the oil It just seems like a lot of fuel got into it lately, but yeah, I think I'll change the oil one more time, and I hate to change it while I'm doing all these testing though. So I don't really know what's next. I'm gonna do some more research. I gotta change out the panel. I'm gonna probably take the hood off and replace that hood with that one over there, and this panel, I got a new one. Big crack right there. Gotta take that out. As you can see, look, you can see like my hand through here. So that's all over here. See, right here. This was virtually rust-free, just a little surface rust, but I just spray painted it yesterday with some truck bed liner undercoating stuff. I think that's one of the better things to use. So I got in the back here, and then I gotta do this pink. So, but I only have that one side. I don't have this side, unfortunately. And this side's pretty bad, like in the corner there. And this side's pretty open here too. A lot of rust there, so hopefully I get a new fender here pretty soon. I'd like to get a new front end here. That's looking pretty shoddy. That plastic just doesn't hold up the best. But yeah, I gotta do some body stuff on it. And then we'll see what happens with the engine, and I don't know, if it comes down to doing a rebuild and taking it all out and everything, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. How much work that's going to be worth it for me. Even this, I got that squeak in here, and who knows what I'm going to be replacing. Alright, this video has gone on way too long, and I'm sure plenty of you have turned it off by now. But that's it for now. See you later.